Thanks so much, Pam. I guess I can get us to get us kicked off, and also like it's myself and Naomi. So not yeah, yeah. So we can kind of maybe just start off by introducing ourselves, and then we can get into what is friends and why you should care. So I'm Dhruv. I live in New York. I'm originally from India, person who stutters. And I guess a short introduction is I care about climate change a lot, care about stuttering a lot, and I'm right now actually working at a farm nearby in New York where we do like organic agriculture. So yeah, Naomi, over to you.
That's so cool. I actually didn't know that about you. That's awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm so honored to be here. I'm Naomi RODGERS, and I currently live in Lincoln, Nebraska, but I'm actually moving to Iowa City in about a month to work at the University of Iowa as a faculty member who does research in the area of stuttering. And I'm so excited to be here as a person who stutters and as an advocate and an ally in the community, and especially getting to represent friends who, which I recently joined as the virtual teen groups coordinator, I think is my title. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about how we support young people through friends.
Awesome. So I'll like start up by just like talking about what is friends and kind of just giving an introduction. I see someone ended. Okay, awesome. Thanks for taking care of that. Yeah. So how many of you have like been to a friends convention or a friends conference? And those with cameras off, you can raise your virtual hands. Okay. Thanks, Doug. Awesome. Yeah. So good. Yeah, and like we'll have like a time for kind of feedback and thoughts as well. So like those of you who have been to a friends convention and conference can also share your experiences. But essentially, Friends started in 1997 by Lee Caggiano and John Albeck. And as I think many of you know, Lee's a mother of a person who stutters, and then she went on to become a speech language pathologist. And John Albeck is a person who stutters, and he was one of the like key members of the National Stuttering Project that later on became the NSA. He was the executive director there for many years. And from what I hear, because I'm much younger than him, lots of people who kind of went to his workshops and went to the NSD at that time, like absolutely loved his care for everyone who came to those conferences. Yeah, so our topic today is basically helping young people who stutter and their allies. So Friends' kind of main focus is young people who stutter, kids, teenagers, young adults, and then also parents and guardians of young people who stutter. Since the pandemic, basically, so since September 2020, Friends has offered virtual groups for kids, teenagers, young adults, parents, and also a monthly community series. We had the monthly community series throughout 2021. It's on kind of a pause right now. Just the community series. We're like still doing the virtual groups. Each group is basically facilitated by either people who stutter or people who really understand stuttering. And the kind of like overall objective is to kind of have people feel comfortable with stuttering, recognize that it's okay to stutter, and to be a person who stutters. Yeah, and to kind of like go into that a bit more deeply. I'm gonna introduce back on stage Naomi to kind of talk about the Friends teen group.
Yeah, so I'm just curious if I can get kind of a read on the room. Who in the room are speech language therapists who work with people who stutter? So Steph, you're raising your hand there. And I'm sure there are people who have videos off who are SLPs or SLTs, who are people who stutter, who don't work as speech language therapists. Okay, wonderful. So I'm just curious, for the people, yeah, I mean, most of us are people who stutter in the room here. I wonder if we can just think back to what it was like being a young person who stutters, if you stuttered for your whole life. So thinking about childhood and adolescence, I think that we can kind of all attest to the unique challenges of being an adolescent. I think being an adolescent is really difficult in its own way, and then you add stuttering into the mix, and there's a lot of complex things to work through in terms of identity and social and peer acceptance and trying to fit in, trying to figure out who you are, and stuttering plays a big role in that. And so what I think is so incredibly powerful about the teen groups at Friends is that we can create a space for teenagers to come together and explore what stuttering means to them and how they maneuver social situations with stuttering. And so I have found, though, in the few groups that I've led, that when you get a bunch of teenagers who don't know each other in a shared space, particularly on Zoom, which a lot of them hate, it can be really hard to get people talking, especially teenagers. And so I try to make it a space that's very welcoming and very fun. I will say that the last time that I led this group, I started with some group guidelines, which was really helpful. So one thing is it's really important to have videos on, right? This is a really special hour that we have to truly connect with people that we should have a very easy time connecting with because we have that shared stuttering experience, but videos on, and I found that that was really helpful, has been very helpful. Also, you know, they're being teenagers, and so sometimes I know that there's chatting kind of going on in the background through Zoom. And so one thing that I asked the group to do is like stay focused on the conversation here. So minimizing the background chatting using devices and so forth. And of course, we need to be respectful of everyone's opinions and experiences. That's not unique to working with teenagers who stutter. I think that whenever we're in a shared space with other humans, it's important that we're being respectful of people's opinions and experiences. And one thing that I think has guided my approach to working with teenagers who stutter, making a space for shared connection, is taking a trauma-informed approach, knowing that young people who stutter have had some difficult experiences with stuttering. You know, I'm sure a lot of them have shared experiences of teasing and bullying and misunderstanding in school and social environments, and those experiences can be really hurtful and of course can impact how they maneuver future experiences that they have. And so from a trauma-informed perspective, I make sure that the adolescents feel like this is a very safe place to talk however they want to talk. There are no expectations for how you're going to talk or how you want to modify talking if that's of interest to you. I think as adults who stutter, like how powerful to have a space like that. You know, if any of you are involved in a support group, you know how powerful that safe space can be. I encourage participation, but don't require anybody to participate if they don't want to or not are not comfortable doing so. And we talk a lot about how to maneuver social situations. Adolescents who stutter, as you all know, because we've all been there, we've all been teenagers, we know that it's a period of development when we're really, really sensitive to the social world around us, right? We're craving social connection. We really want to fit in with our peers. And so I think from my experience, being a recovered adolescent and working with adolescents who stutter, we know that like helping them understand social experiences and maneuver those in a way where they feel like they can have autonomy and have some choice in how they maneuver those spaces, I think is most critical. And so that's really the focus that I have when I'm working with adolescents is like, how do we integrate stuttering into our identity in a way that feels okay with us, and that we feel like we have some choice in how we maneuver social experiences. We talk about disclosure a lot. We talk about what it's like to advertise an open stutter and, the pros and cons of those so that they can make informed decisions about how to handle themselves in those environments. That's really the focus that I take in the groups. So DHRUV, I'm going to hand it back to you. And you,
sure.
You lead the young adult groups sometimes. So I wonder like if those are some themes that you guys also cover.
It's similar, definitely. Yeah, like we our like guidelines as well are that this is a safe place to stutter. You can stutter as much as you want, and however you want, and essentially, yeah, we just kind of so that's the foundation. And then beyond that, if like someone like has an experience they want to share or something that they're going through that they want to see if like other people have kind of like dealt with something similar, then we like talk about that too. But yeah, so that kind of foundation of just unconditional acceptance, unconditional love, I guess you could say, is like the key to the groups. Yeah, kind of like here at StutterFest. So and it's the same sort of like foundation at Friends conventions and also at the conferences also. Since we are kind of like talking about virtual groups, I thought I'll just give you a bit of a behind the scenes view on the technical aspects of kind of how we actually organize the groups, because it's something that I've been kind of trying to fine tune. So I'll just share my screen and sort of just walk you through that pretty quickly. So essentially, like on the website, like there are like kids, teens, young adults, and parents groups. The community series and the convention and conferences are here too. So essentially, like this link basically goes directly to Zoom, and then in Zoom we have like multiple meetings set up. Recurring meetings, and this registration form is directly linked to that to Zoom, and then we've got spreadsheet where we track the different groups and also the date, facilitator, if they had a topic, how many people registered, how many attended. Did they have a photo? So we ask all facilitators at the end of the group to kind of take a screenshot and then kind of share a little blurb as well with us. And then we try to post that. So here's one of Naomi leading a friends group, and then she took a screenshot and then she shared this blurb for everyone on social media. So yeah, that's just like a bit of the kind of like organizational kind of stuff behind the scenes that would be cool to kind of share with all of you too. So the other thing that I just wanted to share is we are now moving back to in-person events, and for like 2 years there were no one-day conferences because of the pandemic, and of course it's still here. But we are having our first one-day conference coming up in Pittsburgh. Oh, Pittsburgh? Yeah, Pittsburgh. And I'm just gonna and also there's gonna be we're gonna be having an annual convention in DC this year. So the convention is July 21st to 22nd to 23rd, and the one-day conference in Pittsburgh. I'm just actually sorry. That's on June 4th. That's on June 4th. Yeah, so just next month. But yeah, so that was a kind of overview of the virtual groups and also what's coming up for Friends. And we still have these like virtual groups going on right now. So if you want to join one, you can as well as adults who stutter. Yeah, so we thought that now we're actually early because right now we're actually like supposed to go till like 3:28 according to our schedule, and then open up for questions and stuff. But it seems like we're early, so we could even just open it up right now, and basically like if there's somebody here who's like been to a Friends event, in person or virtual, if you want to like share your experience.
So I will just add, so the annual convention is happening at the end of July. It's in it's in DC, isn't it, Drew?
Yes, to DC.
Yes, in DC. Yeah. And so what's cool about the Friends annual conventions is that it brings together everybody. So it brings together kids who stutter and their families, teens, and adults who stutter. There are lots of adults who stutter that are there as well. So it's kind of on the heels of the NSA convention. But if there are any adults in the room who can't make it to NSA, or you live closer to DC than you do to Newport Beach, then that's another option. But there are lots of events for adults who stutter there as well. It's not just for kids and families. And we do have some people that have been to some Friends conferences I'm reading about in the chat box, which is cool. And Anita, your last question, I believe that the Friends virtual events are open to anybody that would like to join. Is that correct, Drew?
Yes, well, so the adult groups now are actually kind of like meant for young adults, for 20s and 30-year-olds.
Okay.
But you know what? Just I'm actually facilitating the next one, so feel free to sign up, and you're most welcome to join, Anita. So yeah.
Yeah, but it's an international group. I have usually one or two adolescents who stutter that are from outside the US that are in the groups, which is so cool. It actually has quite an international reach.
Oh yeah. Like we get people from various parts of South America, like people from the Middle East, from India. Yeah, so all over. Pam has her hand up, so I'd like to acknowledge that.
Thank you, Drew. I just wanted to share with folks that I was fortunate enough to attend 6 Friends conferences in a row. The NSA conference was in early July, and the Friends conferences were 2 weeks later. So it was kind of tough, but I was happy that I had those experiences. I first met Lee at a local workshop here in Albany, New York. And at the closing ceremony, I had read a poem that I had written. And she approached me in the bathroom of all places, and she said, would it be okay if we read that poem at the Friends conference? And I gave it some thought, and I'm like, no, I would like to do that myself. So that's what had me go to my first conference. And I just want to say and let people know that I was nervous as an adult going to something that I knew was primarily for kids and teens. But when I walked in the door to register, a parent came up to me and hugged me, huge, warm hug, and said, welcome, and we're so glad you're here for the kids. And that was really meaningful. That was Gloria. I don't know if any of you know Gloria, but I'll remember that forever. So my time in Friends was spent, Lee put me to work immediately, and I ran groups for the adults that came to support the kids who stutter, and was a wonderful experience. And I was happy that I had the opportunity to attend both until it became too expensive. So I just wanted to share that it was a wonderful, heartwarming experience, especially from the parents.
Yeah, and like speaking kind of like to the expenses part, like actually until June, I think it's June 1st, we have an early bird for the convention, and there's like a scholarship as well. Yeah, so you can apply for that and to get registration off, and maybe like even like room and board free as well.
And one thing
yeah.
that I really liked about Friends, which is unlike other conferences, is the registration price was all inclusive. You had breakfast and lunch and dinner included, so that you didn't have to go out in separate groups. Everybody ate together, and the rooms were large so that it was easy to share. So I liked that intimate feeling of eating together instead of separate groups going out, you know. So if people are not aware of that, that was also a very important and affordable way for families to be able to attend.
Yeah. Kunal, like you have a hand up too.
Yeah. DHRUV, I mean, one question I have for you guys is so. Is there any kind of key differences that you guys notice between, you know, the young adults who stutter versus, yeah, like some of the, like, you know, some of the older adults? Is there any kind of key themes in terms of, yeah, like, yeah, from any respect that you've noticed?
So I can like speak for myself, and anyone else can kind of take this question too. To be honest, not really. Like there's some kind of generalizations I can make, but at the same time, like those will be generalizations. So you know. So but I think that, you know, each person, no matter what their age is on like their own journey, you know. And there's some people who will kind of like find like stuttering self-help a lot later in life, like when they're 40 or 50. Some will like find it much earlier in their teens or when they're kids. So it depends. And I think I've also seen, like, you know, like a teenager who's completely accepting and loves stuttering, and I've seen someone who's in their 50s or 60s who like doesn't want to talk about stuttering. So, you know, it just depends. But, you know, but with that said, I think it's, you know, it helps, and we can all probably attest to this, that the sort of sooner a person who stutters knows that there's other people who stutter out there as well. It just sort of helps them recognize they're not alone, and that, you know, that it's okay to stutter because other people stutter too. But yeah, someone else can feel free to jump in and share your thoughts on that too.
I wonder.
I'll speak up a bit, and I would try and be very brief here. I am one of the older adults who stutter, and I've had the pleasure of working with kids who stutter, as well as teens, preteens, young adults. And now I am really starting to focus more on the older adults who stutter, because I'm one of those. And I actually find that there's a lot of differences between the age groups of us who stutter. And the differences, you know, pretty much are around where we are in our journey, also what our focus is as it relates to stuttering itself. But one of the things that I am starting to find is that the older adults who stutter are not as much focused on the actual physical and mental and emotional act of stuttering as much. They are more focused on their stuttering, how it relates to them achieving various goals or responsibilities as either parents or grandparents in the mainstream. And that those of us who are older tend to come together much more for the friendship and the warmth and the family environment than we do for learning about stuttering, for example, or trying to find the latest research on the brains and all of that stuff. Whereas if you're younger and perhaps you're more curious as to the research and the various speech therapy treatments. So I'll just stop right there.
I was just going to add to that, Tug. I think that was so that's so interesting to think about. Like, what are the motivations for becoming involved in a support community, depending on age, and how those motivations probably change over the course of a person's life. And I do think for young adults, and DHRUV, I don't know if this comes up when you lead your groups for friends, but I imagine that there's probably more talk about how to handle stuttering in like interviews and professional spheres. Also in terms of like dating, having young kids and so forth, where the issues are probably, as you mentioned, Doug, are just a little bit different once you've already had once you've already been in your career for a while and are possibly already grandkids, and how the topics of interest change.
Yeah, like one thing I've like seen at least in India, and actually this is with TISA, but that like lots of the people who kind of like join TISA right when like they're like about to kind of go for an interview, or they're kind of trying to get a job, because at that time it's like a critical period where like they're like stuttering now can like mean like like them getting a job or not. So they get very serious about it, join the organization, and like so yeah. Different times, different focuses, definitely. Yeah. So actually, well, one of the reasons why like I thought it would be good to kind of like share and kind of focus on teen groups as well, is I kind of feel like globally, I guess, or even you can just even say nationally, there's like a large support network for adults who stutter, but not really a big support network for like teens or kids who stutter. And I think that if we kind of recognize that it's the same underlying principles, right? The same foundation that the young people who stutter need, like adults who stutter who need, or need like acceptance and peers, a peer network. And we can kind of like in our own lives basically reach out to like local schools and go and like talk to a local school, local high school, local middle school, local elementary school, and just be like, I'm a person who stutters, and next week National Stuttering Awareness Week, great time to reach out to people, and just sort of kind of like build that local network where local teens can kind of recognize that, okay, there's like 5 kids in the high school who stutter, and like 10 kids in middle school who stutter, and they can all meet together in their community. Yeah. So, and if you need some resources, and oh, can you guys still hear me? Oh, I thought it froze for a second. If you kind of like need some resources and stuff, and feel free to reach out. Yeah, I see that Mark has his hand up, so I'll turn it to him.
So, Naomi and Drew, I just wanted to say, acknowledge, let me put the hand down, acknowledge the fact that you two do such an amazing job of fostering these environments for the kids to like feel free to speak and to stutter. So I just wanted to acknowledge that first. And then just to share my experience at a couple of friends' conventions, that it's sort of in a similar light. It's just evident that the kids are free to be themselves, and it's beautiful to see. So yeah, that's really it. Like I just want to acknowledge friends and acknowledge you two as well. So keep up the great work.
Thanks, Mark. It's really good to hear you. I'm just curious. Yeah. I wonder if we can get a poll in the group here. Like, how old were people when they first met another person who stutters? You know, either unmute yourself or enter in the chat box. If you could
like put it in the chat if you want.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so most people that are offering up their experiences, yes, the youngest we have is 10. We have a lot of like adolescent years, and then we have adult years as well. And so I think that that's just, man. So this means that we've all gone so many years thinking that we're the only one in the world that talks like that. You know, talks with a stutter and has his experiences of like struggling to communicate and express oneself, and how much good it can do to have that experience of belonging and like that unconditional acceptance that you have when you come to like a stuttering support community. And so I think this goes back to Drew's point that like I think that it could, even if you're not a speech language therapist, you can still do your part to contribute to the stuttering community by reaching out to like local schools and local speech therapists and sharing information about friends. And I think what's so cool about, well, I think a silver lining of the pandemic is that now we have these virtual groups, so you can reach a lot more people. And so if we can change people's lives by allowing them this space to feel connected to other people that are like them from an earlier age, I think that we can do a lot of good for setting people on a positive track to living well with stuttering. Because I feel like the longer people go not knowing other people who stutter, it's because like, yeah, it just becomes very difficult and very isolating.
Yeah, so I think Steph has her hand up.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time talking to medical professionals. I'm primarily a medical SLP, and so I've found that physicians in general are just really, really hungry to know more. I've spent time working at booth for the Stuttering Foundation at the American Academy of Pediatrics and talking to doctors a lot, and worked in hospitals, and they'll talk to you about it. They want to know when to refer for therapy. They want to know how they can help, and so one of my most recent missions has been to go to hospitals and educate and pediatric clinics, et cetera, they're very, very unreached. So I just wanted to mention that also as an idea for outreach.
That's a fantastic idea, I think. I think like one day we should all just like go to not every single, but at least one doctor's office, pediatric clinic in our neighborhood and just show up and be like, we are protesting. We want you to know about stuttering right now. I'm not like that, but
Yeah, even treatment of adults who stutter in the hospital setting, while hospitalized, while in clinic, et cetera, is really huge and really untapped. So I've really been focusing on that lately, and it's a really great area also to advocate.
Absolutely. Yeah, so like we've got some, I guess, well, like not a specific activity plan for like National Stuttering Awareness Week, but like we have like social media stuff planned, kind of like ideas about talking about stuttering, social media images that you can share with your peers, your colleagues, gear, I guess, if you want to kind of like show your stuttering, t-shirts and that kind of a thing. Yeah, I feel like there was something else that we had included in that, but I think that's the main thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the groups that are going on throughout May. Kids, teens, adults, young adults, and parents groups. But yeah, if there are any other also thoughts about being that child who stutters. Yeah, Tom.
Well, first of all, thank you again for being here. So my question is, what do you do to encourage so many people to show up for your online meetings?
That's a good question. I guess, well, first of all, kind of like, I think that people, who come once will kind of like feel or like hopefully feel that kind of like sense of unconditional love. So they want to come back to meet their other friends. But apart from that, we send out a monthly email blast with like programming for that month. We then we actually send maybe like two email blasts a month or so, just like with updates. Then on social media, we share on social media. And also on Facebook, we specifically then share our posts to like other Facebook groups that, who have, stuttering related Facebook groups. And then with Zoom, as soon as someone like registers for the group, a day before and then the day of, we like send them reminders. So yeah, those are kind of like very like practical steps we take to kind of encourage people to come to the groups. But yeah, tell your friends, tell your friends who stutter, who have kids who stutter.
Drew, I have a question. When you do your adult groups, like, do you usually get this same people that come back meeting after meeting, or is it usually a mix-up where there's new people coming in all the time?
There's some like core people, I think, who keep coming back, and there's some new people as well, which is a good thing, I feel, because then we're kind of increasing us up, and of course, and some people who don't show up. So it's not always the same people and always the exact same group, which is nice too. But at the same time, like, I do feel that like programs that have the same group for like a certain period of time, that kind of like focus on one topic or a few topics, are also very helpful.